Okay, and I think it's recording now, and I'm just gonna share my screen so you can have a look. Does everybody see the screen, Maya screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's all there. Okay, cool. So this is what we left last week. I think I didn't save the actual weight painting thing that we did last week, but so far what it has is the geometry, okay, as it is, but all the joints are there. I'm just gonna click this button so I can see it through. Now, when we did the weights, we need to do two things, which is actually selecting the joints that we want to bind the skin to and the actual skin, in this case the geometry. And you had to do it for every single one of these pieces of geometry. You had to do it for the ponytail, for the base, and for all this, okay? Now, the thing about this you need to keep an eye is like, what is it going to be bound to? For example, I'm gonna select the joints that I'm going to use. I mean, if you go into the form, the section here, the form. By the way, there are some really nice tool sets here, guys, that you can use if you wanted to. They are more advanced. I find that it was no point of me teaching you how to do that, because I mean, they are just a nice way of doing the actual stages of doing the deformation with the skin, but sticking to the tools inside Maya is good enough. It's pretty much what you need, nothing else. So I'm going to stuck just to this section in the form. You can see it's quite extensive, and then you call the things going on here. But that's for all the aspect of the pipeline. But we're just going to do a simple animation, so we don't need that. So the only thing that I use this from the deform section is just this says select the form joints. So I know that it selected everything that I need. Now, even though it selected all this, it looks like it's selected. I don't think I think it adds this one sometimes. For some reason, sometimes it doesn't add the eyes, or it doesn't add the jaw. So we need to verify that. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the joints here by hitting this button, and then shift select the skin. So we're gonna do the binding again quickly so you can have a look. And then I'm gonna open one when everything is painted. So just double check that everything is being recorded. Yes, recording. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to have that. And then I'm going to select the setting here in skin, bind skin, go into the options. And then here you need to have select the joints, closing distance. This is important, classic linear. Do not use this because it will not work in Unreal. And here the interactive is fine, distance, and this is how many influence you can have. 3 is fine. And you just bind the skin. And then you can see that automatically Maya's lock the transformation, rotation, and scaling of the transform node of that geometry. You can verify this by if you press W or any of these, the WER for doing scale rotation, or any of those transformations. You see they are grayed out. It means that they are locked, so you cannot use them. That's why you have that. And a new entry is put in here, which is that node that is a skin cluster with all the settings. The twig is an extra node that comes with it, and I think that what it does is just save the original shape of the geometry before doing any deformation. That's something that is internally used. You don't need that. This is the stuff that you need to have. And then when you have this, please do not, you cannot go and delete by child history, because otherwise you kill this and you kill the rig. Okay? You lose all the information that you painted. So if I select this, and then I'm gonna go through here, and then I'm gonna go into IK, and I'm just gonna select. You can see that this is what Maya gives me automatically. There's a lot of issues that you need to fix. But that is part of the actual painting, the weights, and that's what we did last week. Now, if you want to analyze what are the joints that were bound in here, you can see that, for example, this control here is the jaw control, and that controls that joint here. So you can see here, by some reason, look, see, it wasn't added. I don't know why it doesn't do it. Let me see the eyes. I think this is the control for the eyes. And I think, let me see. You see, it was not bound, but that's fine. That's fine. That shouldn't be bound because the eyes are going to show you how to bind the eyes. Now here, all these controls, they do have something in there, but this is what we're going to discuss now. So ideally, we need to check and see that all the controls work. For example, we just found out that the jaw wasn't added for some reason, and it's this one here. It's the jaw M here. So if you want to bind, if you want to add that, you can know that, you can see that if you right click here, you can go through skin, paint skin weight, and then here you will have a list of all the things that are bound. These are the influences. See the influence list, and everything is there that is bound to that geometry is in place in there. So if you go through, this is the hands, this is the other hand, and these are the spine joint. These are the joint for the neck, and sorry, for the ponytail. And then you go here, root. You got the one in between the chest, the neck, another in between the neck that we put in there, the head, another joint which is the base joint in here, and then all the joints, and that's it. You can see the hierarchy dies in there, so there's nothing else, which means that this joint definitely was not added. I don't know why it's not added, but that is one way to find out, well, actually this joint should be added to this rig. So you can add it later on, that's not a problem. But one of the things you need to keep an eye on here is that we don't need influence from any of these things to the head. So what you can do in order to solve that is to take every single one of these joints, say replace, value is 0, and you hit this button flood. What flood does, it flood all the geometry with that value you put here. You want to replace 0 value, and you hit this button flood, and it says automatically set it for everything to 0. You take this guy and you flood it here, flood it, so all of them, you see, the flood with 0. Okay, so and then what you can do, you see this one is the most problematic. What you can do is we can take every single one of these joints and you just lock them. You hit this button lock, and they automatically are there, but they will not be part of anything when it comes to the rig. For this skin cluster, for the that doesn't mean that it's locked for everything else. Okay. So what we do is we lock them. So whatever painting process we do later on, nothing is gonna be added or deleted from these guys because they are locked. All you have to do is click this button, and you can see it goes yellow. Now we know that we have the joints locked. So that joints, we assigned it, we replace with the value of 0, and we flood the whole thing, and then we lock it. That's what you have to do. The next thing you need to do for this, and I think as well you can do, is that the joint, you know that the jaw joint is not added, and you know that this is the jaw joint, because this is just the end. This is not going to be doing anything, just this one. So you select that guy, you shift select the skin, no, select this, shift select the skin, you see I both selected, and then you go here into skin, and you go here into a section that is called, what is it called, skin, normalized way, edit influences, and you tell them I'm going to edit an influence. Just remember that influence is another name for a joint. So you here add influence, and you tell them you don't need this, use geometry, because it's not an influence with geometry, it's just a joint. That's fine. You can lock the way as you go in if you want, you don't want that, and you apply it. Once you do that, you can see now that this guy here, okay, if you right click here, you should have in the hierarchy now the jaw somewhere, and we know that the jaw goes from the head to the jaw, okay, and then this goes. These are the same sort of indentation because they have the same level. The head is the father of the joint, and it's the father of, the father of the jaw, and it's the father as well of the base of the ponytail. That's why they are in the same sort of level here, these two. So you see now the jaw gave me this. You can see they gave me something to start with. It's normally is something that Maya does automatically. So, and then you can see when I rotate it, you see it's rotating the whole face. We don't want that. There's something, and then that is the weight painting process. Okay, so when you do that, then you paint the weights with what I told you last week. Okay, then you're gonna start doing it for every single one of them. Okay, so you need to do it for this. You need to do it for the eyes. You need to do it for the tail base and the tail base, or the tail geometry. So if you want to do it for the tail base, there is no point of adding what is it called? There's no point of adding all those joints to this when you know that all the thing that's going to be influenced is the head, pretty much. So you can literally select the head, then you shift select here, okay, and you tell them bind the skin again with the selected joint, closing the distance, blah blah, all that stuff, and you apply it. When you select this guy, you can see there's only one join, and it's 100%, and that's fine. You don't need anything else. Okay. Now is the head is going to be perhaps it's going to perhaps I have to resync it here because this control here does the head. That's fine. This is just the head there. That's fine. Does it do any rotation? This joins. Let me see. Yeah. So that's fine. Yeah, the head is fine. You can see that comes along now. So when you move the neck, the base comes along. You see. But all we did was we selected the head. She selected this, and we added we created a brand new bind skin, because now this one has one skin cluster 1, and now this one has skin cluster 2. But there's no point of selecting everything and then binding to this guy, because it's going to have tons of joint that had nothing to do with that. So it's better just to select what you have selected, which is in this head. Just remember, guys, when I select the head, it doesn't mean that I'm selecting everything. I'm only selecting the parents. They just come along because they are the children, but they're not actually selected. If you want to select the children, you have to shift select them like this. Shift, shift, shift. And then now you have the selection bigger. And you know when you have a multiple selection, because you can have the whole name here. As soon as you press shift, it gives you this little section here with these 3 dots. It means that you have the selection is more than one. So again, if I select this and then shift select this, then you know that the selection has more than one item. Okay, you can see it here, and then you bind the skin. And then this one, you don't have to do anything because it's only one, and it automatically give it 100%. That's what it's white, like that. Then this guy here, we do the same. We select this, but we're gonna select all these guys. So we're gonna select this. Okay. So what we can do is we select this, right? This is another trick. You can just go and shift select all of them. Like this. Okay, you can do that, or you can just make something slightly different. You select the base. Okay, you shift select this guy, and then you tell them, instead of bind to select the join, you tell them select join hierarchy. And I think it selects the join hierarchy from that guy down, all the way down. Select all of them, and then when you hit apply, you right click here. You know that it added the head as well for some reason. I think it's taken from here, I don't know. But anyway, so it didn't work. I thought it was gonna work, but it didn't. So anyway, you could leave it like that, and then just make sure that guys are 0, like this. You can just take this, right click. But the point is that you have to make this drop down menu as small as possible. You don't have to have all those joint fingers, toes, when the ponytail, you know that's only gonna be controlled by this hierarchy. So let's fix that if you wanna do. So I don't know why it didn't work. It should have worked, because that's the hierarchy from there onward. So see if that is already there. No, it's still there. Let me go back so I can. Yeah, now okay. So what you do is select this, shift select. You select this guy here, then you shift select this, all of them. I don't know if you want this one. Yeah, let's select this one, and then you shift select that. And then you select the selected joints, and you apply. So now when you right click on this, then you see I only have the joints that I need, and it does it for this to give you like a fairly decent job automatically, because it's just a single triplet thing. Okay, and that you shouldn't really need to paint any weight here. So, oops. Okay, so that's that. The same process with the eyes. We just need this joint. So you select this one, which is the left eye. Shift select the right eye, and then shift select the eyes, which is that joint. And again, select the joint, blah blah blah, apply. This one, the eyes, right click, tools. You can see that only 2 things. And here, I think this is obviously because the proximity, it tells you to do that. If you want to fix that, you can either paint it, or you can just go back to undo this. Okay, I'm gonna undo that, and what you can do is you select this, shift select that, and you tell them allow maximum influence of 1. So only one joint can influence the geometry, or 2 in this case, 2, because it's 2 joints that I selected. You apply that. Did it work? Why it doesn't work? I'm gonna select. Let me see if I can. Select this. Shift select that. Oops. Select the eyes. Let's put it back to 2 and apply. already connected to the skin cluster. So maybe I didn't. Oh, okay, because I haven't deleted it. The skin cluster. Let me see. Okay, I think. Let me see. Yeah, that's gone now. I just had it selected and didn't do enough undos. So again, left eye. Shift select the right eye. And shift select the skin. Talent only 2 influence because I have 2 joints. Apply that. So now when I do this, right click, you should see that I have only 2. So for this one here, you can tell them, hey, this one here, replace with 100%, and then you just go and paint it. Okay, so you paint that, make sure you're inside, you paint it 100%, so it's 100% white. It's easier when you select this. For doing things like that, it's easier this one will give you a little bit difficult to paint because it has a smooth fall off. And again, you don't need influence. If you're moving this eye, you don't want this eye to move. So you go to the other one and then you put that one with 100, which means that it's going to be deleting that residual value from the other one automatically, because all vertex needs to add to 100. So as soon as you do that, you can see that it's black because I take him from this and added to this one by adding to the other one. The moment I add to this, I'm essentially deleting any influence that was left from this guy into this section. And there you go. You got the eye sorted. Then the cape is the one that we need to do a little bit more thinking, because this cape at the moment that I have is not gonna be controlled with joints. In the past I had it with 3 joint strings going along, and then I will animate them. But this time we're gonna do cloth. Okay. So cloth, we don't need to have movement. You could and then blend between them, but we're just gonna have a static. So we know that we need to analyze which joints are we gonna add to this guy, because I don't want to add everything again. I don't want to go and select this, and why is the point of me having connection with the feet and the fingers and all that, or the ponytail, when they got nothing to do with it. So what we can do, we can analyze and see which is the joint you think we're gonna be needing. So I think, to play safe, I'm just gonna put 3 joints that I'm gonna need. I'm gonna select them. So I'm gonna select the clavicle, because I know that if I move the clavicle, you just have to move them, or rotating in this case. If I rotate it, you can see that I will need that, because otherwise as soon as I do this, I want this section to move along up or move down. So this guy is gonna be influencing this. So if I move the shoulder, then perhaps, yeah, it's gonna be part of it. Now the chest, not necessarily, because as soon as I move the chest, the clavicle comes along and the shoulder, look. So I don't think I need anything in there. The neck, if I move the neck, maybe you can see, well, I don't think, well, obviously this is not painted, this is just a little bit. So you can see probably if I do that, yes, maybe I will need a little bit here. So I decided to just add this joint, and I'm gonna add the left clavicle, the right clavicle, the left shoulder, the right, and the right shoulder. Shift select all of them. So I shift select all of them. So I identify that all these joints are the one that are gonna be added to the cape. Again, the fact that this is highlighted doesn't mean that it's selected. It's just because they are children of this, they come along, but they're not actually selected. So I press shift to this guy, right click, or not right click, I want to go here into skin, bind skin, and I tell them maximum influence of 3, because in this case 3 joints are going to be working. At one point I will have 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 for that side. And I say apply, okay? And now this guy has a new skin cluster. I right click, and you can see that they are only going to be influenced by these dudes, okay? So neck here is probably going to be the most, and then scapula, shoulder, all this stuff is going to be 0, because I don't want, when I move the scapula, which is going to bring the shoulder up, I don't want the scapula to move the cape. I don't want that. I just want to paint around here. What I have to do is paint all, and then all this stuff is going to be 0, and that stuff is going to be, you know, just coming along. So what I can do, actually I just realized, so I have to move along. So Yes, I think the influence of everything is gonna come along when I move. That's interesting. I think I made a mistake. I think I should have added the chest as well. I can't remember if I added the chest because at the end of the day, everything needs. I cannot leave this guy in 0. It will need to come along somehow. But I think these 3 joints are gonna influence this little bit section here, and then the rest probably should come along when I move the chest. Like that. So I think we're gonna have to add the chest anyway. But if that's the case, you know how to do it. You select the chest, select this, and then you go into skin, edit influence, and then you say add it. And now the chest is part of it. So when you right click on this, the chest is being added as well. So I think that makes more sense because now when I don't have anything happening in terms of moving the shoulder or the clavicle, then I will have the ability to bring everything along with this, you see, because it comes along. So you have to go and paint the weights and all that, blah blah blah, and then you will be done. Okay, so once you have that, then you have everything up and running. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open a file that has everything done. I think it's 7 from the last year, and then we can walk through the skin weights and you can have a look at what is be done. So I think let's have a look here. If I added the chest, I can't remember. Well, I think this one I actually forgot to add all this. You see, all this stuff is just you got nothing in it because I don't have anything. I only painted. You see, nothing has 0. I think I forgot to do that. You can see that I have the chest, the neck. I think I added this guy as well, but I think only the neck, the chest has the stuff, neck, chest. And I don't remember if I added the hip. Oh, this one as well, and the shoulder. You see, it's quite confusing. So you see, I the only thing that I have, you have to add is chest, neck, shoulder, clavicle. That's it. The rest are there, but they're not. I never got to paint them because I think I forgot to add them the way that I just did. This is from last year. But you can see this character here has a has a good deformation. You can see it has good deformation. This is roughly what you need. You see there's always going to be a little bit of loss of volume. You cannot get away from that. The jaw, I think, is sorted. You can see this is quite tricky to do the jaw because the jaw you have to open it and then you have to paint all this section and then smooth it out. So it does take a little bit of time, but it's something you can do. You can see here a little bit of that. There's a little bit of double transformation there, but that shouldn't be much of it. It's a little bit about painting. This one, everything works, okay? And now, when you have this, then this is the stage that you are going to say, well, I got everything sorted. Now I'm going to publish this rig. This is the last stage, okay? So let me quickly open something. Let's see. Okay, so that's fine. It's exactly the same. Let me open. I just want to double check on something. Okay, so I have this, which is the one that I just opened. This is the one with all the stuff sorted. Now, has anybody got any questions so far about this? What I done here?
Nope, not from me.
Now I got a question for you guys. Have everybody got a character up and running now? Has everybody got a character in terms of like nobody? Please tell me that nobody's modeling or anything like that because
No, of course not.
I will be like, God.
No, but I do need a hand with my model, but we can do that later on.
Okay. So
Well, with my ring.
nobody. No, don't worry. We do that individually. See, nobody. The reason I told you guys choose one of the characters or bring your own character ready from now. Do not start one from scratch because at this stage now, if you want to start animating, you need to animate your characters. At this point, you can follow with mine, but after that, you have to just do yours because you cannot pass the animation from one to another. Okay, so this character, obviously I didn't do the in-betweens in here, the in-between that we did in the other one, and I didn't have the ribs, and that's the one I'm gonna be using for the animation. I actually did for the neck. I didn't do here, that was a mistake. I left it as it was. Now the other ones have the deformation here. You already know that, so this is here being recorded, so it can be referenced back later. This, well, in the rig that we did, we don't have these two. We just have one here, and we have in-betweens in here, and we have in-between in the neck. So I think anything else is exactly the same, apart from the ribs as well that I added. That's for preserving body, but the rest is exactly the same. Okay, so here I actually put an IK handle. I put this thing so I can have the IK handle. I should have just moved these guys up and then put them here, but I don't know why they just, you see that working. Okay, so okay, so once you have this, now it comes the little thing that I told you about, which is that we need to make sure that this is taken care of. Now, and the reason is this, because when you're working in Unreal, okay, as opposed to Unity, because I done freelance, I did an animation cycles for a project for an app, and it was all done in Maya, but it was using Unity, and the Unity, the way you work in Unity is completely different when it comes to rigging in animation than when it is in Unreal. When you bring stuff in Unity, you actually bring the FBX, the actual joints and all that. Here is different. Here you have to do it in 2 stages. You have to actually have one rig, which is just the geometry and the skin clusters and the joints. And then when you do your animation, you only export the joints. So when you export the joints, you bake the animation in the joints, and then the joints, when you bring it back into Unreal, it will parent one-to-one. Say, oh, okay, this stuff is exactly the same, the hierarchy that I have here with the joints in the rig. Do you want me to just bring the animation? And it will only import animation. And everything that is imported in Unreal, it automatically be converted into its own proprietary sort of file format, which is the U asset. So that is all converted internally. So here we had to do it in 2 stages, okay? And one of the requirements I has is that in Unreal you shouldn't have any hierarchy within a hierarchy when it comes to the joints. And this is what happened when we're doing this rig, is that if you stay here, we don't have the joints in here in the world space. We have them within an extra control, which is this one, the main control. And then within that we have these guys, which is the deformation system. Within that is where you can see all the joints that you need. Okay, and that is the problem, that this one doesn't work like that. Okay, because at the moment, if I have this as it is, I select the joint and then I select the skin and I export it, it doesn't work. In Unreal, it gives me something, because these joints are within a hierarchy, within a curve, within a group. So the joint should be, it does support a top group, they should be outside. And this is what we have to do. We have to do is take this guy from here, middle drag and drop it outside, and then leave it there, and that's it. That's all what we need to do. But look what happened. So this rig has the ability to scale your character. Look, nice. Look, you can make your character big and small, that's fine. Because the hierarchy here has been done in that way, that you have the ability to scale things up and down. But now, if we take this guy, if you say, I need to take this guy out, because that is not gonna work for Unreal. Okay, so I take the deformation system, middle click and drag, leave outside, look, nothing happens, still works. You go this, it works, everything works. But now look what happened when I'm trying to scale it. Let's see if it works. Look, I lose the ability to scale my character correctly. And this is what I meant for you at the beginning, guys. If you don't have your character done from the beginning, and you didn't pay attention when I did that, now you will be like, at the moment you might be crawling through the walls, pissed off. Say, oh my God, I have to go and do everything again. Because we lose that ability when we take that node outside. That's the only thing we lose. Everything else works, it's just that we will not be able to scale our character again. And this is one of the things you have to do. You have to take this guy from here, from the main, middle click and drag, put it outside, Done. That's it. That's all you have to do. So once you do that, okay, we need to clear this out because we need to publish this. But that is clearing out something, and it's clearing the reference. Just remember that this thing, you can see model, little diamond section here in blue. It means that this is the reference. You can verify that by going to File, going into Reference Editor, and then when you open that, you can see that you are pointing to a reference. And you can say, hey, this is the reference that I'm pointing at. Okay. Now, if we want to animate this, ideally when you're animating, you should have a reference of your rig. Okay. So if we reference stuff as it is, you're going to reference the rig, and then the rig is going to reference the model, and so forth if the model has something referenced. So you start having nesting references, and then things get a little bit bogged down, and it gets a bit more problematic. So what the last stage does, it pretty much get rid of that connection, that reference, which is if you go here into Publish, what it does, you can go through this section saying set the display layers to R, which is reference, set the joints to hidden. If you don't want to see your joints, up to you. Go to build post, perhaps you can click this button. So if you have, for example, I don't know, if you have this, okay, and then if you hit this, it will put it back the way it was, just in case you forgot something you did, a little tiny touch of movement, a little rotation or something, I don't know. Then you can just say go to build pose, and it put it back the way it was. The build pose is the pose that was done when you actually created the skin cluster, okay, or when you created everything. So that is important. This one, set joints to hidden. I prefer to have them so I can see the joints. I don't know. It's up to me. It's up to you. But then this is the crucial button, Publish. And then if you go here into the help, you can click here, and this is what happened. It tells you what is going on. And what it is stuff that I just told you, which is your model is being referenced in the rig, and then the rig is going to be referenced on your animation or the publish rig. You want to break this, because otherwise if you do animation, then you need to start only creating one reference. You need to break this bond pretty much. You need to break this bond. And the publish button does that. And you can see here, having the model reference into the rig is good for managing the model changes. That's good. If you forgot to do UVs, you go into the model, you do your UVs, and then when you open the rig, the UVs should be in the rig with no problem. Okay? So however, it is not good to reference such a rig into the animation shot. When you're doing the animation, you cannot do this because it will cause nested referencing, which means that this guy will reference the animation will reference the rig, and the rig at the same time is referencing the model. So it gets heavy and it can cause issues. To avoid this, it's recommended use the advanced skeleton publish feature, which is this, which will export a non-reference version of your rig file. Okay, and what it does, this is what that button does. But we need to do it. We need to do this before that, otherwise we will not be able to change it. Okay, all you have to do is hit the button Publish. This will save. I think this will save this. Save the file. And now, I think it published this guy called CRA Step 7 MB. It created an MB. So let's look for that MB. I should have just named this Final or whatever. So I'm just gonna go here and open the 7 MB. I'm gonna open it here. And now this is open here. Look, this is 7 MB. Now there is no reference. Look, the diamonds are gone. So now this guy, you just go save a scene as, and I'm gonna call it character animation 2020 underscore. I'm gonna put test final rig. That's just my convention. I name it like this. 20 is just a test that we're doing. Final rig. So now when I say this as an MA, if you want to, then you can see that there is no more referencing here. This guy now has everything that you need to work on directly. This is your rig. This is going to be your rig. This is going to be your final rig. That's it. Done. Publish. Done. You don't have to do anything. You can see the diamonds are gone. You go here to verify that. You go here into File, Reference Editor. You can see there is no reference whatsoever. So now, when you want to animate, you go here, create a new scene, and you're gonna say this scene, and you're gonna call it, I don't know, I wanna call it idle cycle. I'm gonna start animating underscore 001, or I'm gonna call it test underscore 001 ma dot ma. I save that. It's blank, obviously. I say, well, I'm gonna start animating. Okay, I'm gonna reference my rig. File, reference editor, create reference, and I'm gonna go and find that rig. That will be as an MA. That will be final rig, this one. Reference it. Okay. And now, this is, I can start animating. This is my animation. From here, all I'm doing now is animation. I don't have to touch the rig or anything. If I got issues in the rig, then I have to go back to one of the stages of the rig when I thought the process was messed up, fix it, republish it, and then when I bring, if I make a mistake, let's say that I animate this character and it's done, and then I forgot, oh man, I forgot to put an extra joint here. Fine, don't worry. You might be okay to do that. Go back to the rig where you saw the stages. That's what I keep telling you, say 001, 002, 003. You go back there, you fix the issue, republish it again, and then when you come in here in this guy, you just go into the file, reference editor, and then point to that new publish thing that you just fixed. And then all the animation should be there. You shouldn't lose the animation because the joints are going to be named the same, the controls are going to be the same, you don't want to lose anything. All what you're storing in this file, what you're doing is the animation curves. And they're all going to come from the what I'm moving these controls. Okay? Which is something that we're going to go through before we start animating. We're going to start getting familiarized with the actual rig, how it works and what is supposed to be done, what it does and what it doesn't. Okay? And the capabilities, the features, and how to use it pretty much. So you understand the workflow, how everything needs to be put together. You can see that there's still plenty of steps. And it does take time to do it, and that's why I kept telling you to not to have your character as soon as possible. And you can see here that you have everything else, because we reference, everything has a timer. It means that everything is referenced. And then here in this file, all you're going to have is your curves, your animation. And when you export your animation, you're going to export only the joints, because that joints, we're going to have all the information in store, where the rotation and movement of all the joints. And then I'm going to show you how to export the rig and how to export the animation when we have our first animation sorted, and that's when we're going to move into Unreal. You can see, guys, this is week 6 and we haven't even started animating, and there's a lot of stuff you need to do. So that's it, guys. This is it. Once you're at this stage, you are ready to start animating. That is the next step, and that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to start animating. We're going to start talking about animation curves, how they work. But I need you guys to start having your rig ready now. Okay? Has anybody got any question about these?
None from me.
I know
No
that's...
questions.
Say again, sorry?
No questions.
No,
Okay,
I think
guys.
it's all clear.
Okay, I think I would like to see everybody today if it's possible, guys. If you leave after this, it's up to you. I'm not going to be chasing anybody here. You're all grown-ups. But I'm fully aware, because I get a screen grab every time I do a class of who comes and who doesn't. And I normally grab it just before I go into the help room, so I know who came to the class and who left. So, okay, so that's it for now. That's it. I'm gonna stop the recording of this, and I think we're done here. So I'm gonna move into the help room, and then I'm gonna, if you want me to see you, then go into the help room, waiting room, and then I'll start dragging you one by one until we go there. But you might have to give me a few minutes because I need a quick break, maybe to get some water or something. Okay. That's it for now, guys. Thank you very much. I'm gonna stop the recording now.